An astronaut reports to his mission control that he is not on Earth anymore, after he enters a vortex with a tear in time and space. He admits that he does not know where he is now, but after he keeps reporting again and again, no one from mission control responds to him. Not long after that, he hears the sound of a monster from afar, so the astronaut runs quickly, and unfortunately he falls down. It turns out that it is not a monster, but a mighty T-Rex that chases the astronaut, and finally, he gets eaten alive. The scene shifts to a TV show with a presenter named Matt, who interviews a paleontologist named Rick, but Matt is not impressed with Rick. Matt hears that Rick does research about time travel, with the purpose for all humans to move to another era as a solution to overcome many crises they face now. Even though Rick already convinced him with many explanations, many people criticize his theory as nonsense. Feeling very confident with his research, Rick decides to leave the presenter who does not support him. So Matt closes the show by admitting that he thinks Rick is a crazy man, which immediately makes Rick want to hit him, and Matt sprays Rick with a fire extinguisher. 3 years later, Rick proudly presents about time travel to important people and explains that he has already created a device to perform time travel that can strengthen a subatomic particle called tachyon. But with that device, humans will not move forward or backward in time, but move sideways in time to another dimension, a place where the past, the present, and the future meet. After his presentation ends, it turns out that the audience is not important people, but a group of his students who learn science. After Rick angrily tells the students to leave because they do not understand, a woman named Holly arrives, who says that she likes Rick's research, especially about time travel. But Rick says that many people already do not believe his theory, so he becomes mocked and ends up as just a science teacher. Even so, Holly still believes his theory, showing a fossil more than 265 million years old with an imprint on modern lighter, as a sign that someone from the present once existed in the dimension where past, present, and future mix. Holly admits that she finds it in a desert along with a crystal that emits tachyon energy, which makes Rick fall silent. With the lighter she brings, Rick tries to fit it on the fossil, and it matches, which makes him finally believe what Holly says. The next day, Holly visits Rick again, as she feels amazed when she sees the tachyon amplifier that Rick has already created, with a speaker that can play a song. Because of that, Holly immediately thinks to test it in the field by going to the place where she finds the fossil, which makes Rick surprised when the place is actually a children's amusement park. They ask a man named Will to take them into a cave using a raft, and along the way, they detect a strong tachyon signal in this area. So Rick activates his tachyon amplifier, and suddenly, an earthquake shakes the cave. Feeling danger, Rick wants to turn off the amplifier, but unfortunately the device falls into the water, and their raft starts to rush like whitewater rafting. At the end of the cave, they see the wall already destroyed and they're about to fall, but Rick and the others cannot do anything. And finally, they time travel into the mixed dimension by falling into the vortex. While they time travel, the cave returns to normal again. They then wake up in a desert, where this mixed dimension has 3 moons in the sky. They also find an ancient boat with a modern airplane, as proof that they really are in the mixed dimension, and Rick wants the presenter Matt on TV to admit that he is wrong. For documentation, Rick starts vlogging to tell about the discovery of the mixed dimension. Now that the tachyon amplifier is lost, they plan to find it in order to return to their original time. Not long after that, they hear a sound like monkeys, so they approach the direction of the sound, and it turns out not to be monkeys, but primitive humans who still look like apes. When they see one ape about to kill another with a stab, they quickly stop his action, with Will, who takes out his lighter. But Will's finger gets burned by the fire, which makes the lighter fall, and one of the apes immediately takes it, making the primitive creature now possess the power of fire. When they see another ape hiding, they try to approach him, with Holly trying to explain their good intentions. Holly admits that she recognizes the language of the primitive creatures from a zoo, so they introduce themselves and learn that the ape's name is Shaka. When Rick tries to look at his ankle out of curiosity, Shaka becomes angry and quickly runs away, and while he runs, suddenly the desert ground collapses beneath them. They arrive inside a huge cave, where Holly tells Shaka that Rick is a good man, and after that, suddenly they are grabbed by living tree roots. As a result, they hang trapped, and they hear the sound of the T-Rex in the distance, and they see that the astronaut is already eaten without a trace, strongly suspecting that this place is the T-Rex's feeding ground. So they quickly try to escape by working together to swing toward a tree. And just before they can reach it, suddenly the T-Rex already appears right beside them. After they become freed thanks to the T-Rex's mistake, they immediately run away. While running, they take the chance to take a selfie with the T-Rex, as strong proof that the mixed dimension is real. After that, they run again, and after crossing to the other side of the cliff, the T-Rex struggles and becomes afraid to cross. But after Rick mentions that the T-Rex's brain is only the size of a walnut, it suddenly stops, as if insulted by Rick's words, and it immediately jumps across the chasm to chase Rick and the others again. A moment later, they survive for a while by hiding inside a cave, before the T-Rex finally gives up. At night, Rick wants to know more about who Shaka is, so Holly asks him, and Shaka answers that he's a prince of his people, who becomes a victim of betrayal to steal his throne. They then talk about the T-Rex, with Rick again saying that its brain is only the size of a walnut, and suddenly a loud noise hits their cave. The sound is a package delivered by the T-Rex, which turns out to contain a giant walnut, as a message that its brain is that big. The next morning, Rick records another vlog to say that their food supplies are almost gone, and he thinks about eating Shaka. Suddenly his vlog is interrupted by the arrival of Shaka, who brings a fruit, so Rick asks for it. But it turns out to be full of insects, which makes everyone terrified. Not long after that, a light and a loud noise appear from outside the cave. So they go to check it, and they see a bright light coming from within the forest. Suddenly, Rick gets a vision of an alien asking for help, which makes him curious, and he immediately goes toward the light. A few moments later, Rick arrives at the source of the light, which turns out to shine from a mirror-like object in the center, and he feels tachyon radiation that could return them to their original time. But Shaka gives a warning about something unknown to Rick and the others, which they assume is food. They do not know that the meaning is written on the stone behind them, which says, "Beware of alien creatures called Sleestack." Suddenly, those creatures appear in great numbers, which Rick and the others assume are like slow-type zombies. Because of that, Holly wants to fight them all with her belt, but Rick realizes there is something glowing on her belt. So he uses it to reflect the light onto one statue shaped like the alien. So the light continues to another statue, and it finally activates a door on the mirror object in the center, which Rick and the others immediately enter. They arrive in a place that connects the mixed dimension with their real world, where they find one golden alien lying down named Enoch, the same as what Rick sees in his earlier vision. Enoch admits that he knows Rick, and he has already watched a video of his interview with Matt, even from the most remote place in the universe. He adds that he is a prisoner in this mixed dimension, and the fate of the universe depends on Rick. He then asks for his help to stop an evil red alien who already conquers his world, and now plans to conquer Rick's world too, using the power of a crystal that Enoch possesses. If the red alien is not stopped, he will open a portal to Rick's world, and he will lead an alien army to rage across all time and space. The alien only lacks one thing to complete his evil plan, which is Rick's tachyon amplifier that can unleash the crystal's full power. After learning that the amplifier is lost, Enoch can detect it with his crystal, but strangely the amplifier keeps moving. When Rick and the others want to bring Enoch with them, he replies that he must stay here to guard the crystal, before Rick and the others leave to begin their search for the amplifier without Enoch. With Shaka's help, they go to the place where they first arrive in the desert, where they find many modern objects, suspecting that this place is the main entry point into this world. There they find the raft they used before, and suddenly, an ice cream truck falls from above with someone inside. This makes Will crave ice cream, but Rick stops him from going because dinosaurs approach the truck to eat the man inside. Not long after, the T-Rex comes to eat the man too, but it gets distracted by the arrival of another huge dinosaur called Allosaurus. Soon after, both dinosaurs notice Rick and the others, so they quickly run away and split up, but unfortunately, out of the three, only Rick is chased by the dinosaurs. After managing to distract the dinosaurs, Rick finds a canister of cold nitrogen and asks his two friends to prepare a catapult while he is still chased by the Allosaurus. After placing it in the catapult, they launch the canister at the Allosaurus, so its body quickly freezes solid and it finally shatters in an explosion. Shockingly, the tachyon amplifier is inside the Allosaurus' stomach all along, but before they can retrieve it, a flying dinosaur called Pterosaurus arrives and snatches the amplifier, leaving them helpless. As a result, Rick loses his spirit again, admitting that he wants to give up because this is the second time he has made such a confession. This makes Holly disappointed, so she walks away from him. Night falls, where Shaka becomes homesick for his tribe, with a beautiful life of freedom and wandering in a place full of food. He adds that in his tribe the women serve the men, fulfilling all of their needs, especially since there are 7,000 women there, which makes Will very interested to know more. Not long after, Rick comes back and admits that he wants to move on from giving up, and he thinks about reclaiming the tachyon amplifier at the Pterosaurus' mountain lair. While he sings happily, he does not realize that a giant mosquito is sucking his blood, and a beetle is crawling on his back, which makes him faint. The next morning, they begin climbing the mountain of the Pterosaurus' lair, where they find many Pterosaurus eggs, and they discover the tachyon amplifier, which plays a song. When Rick tells Will to take it, suddenly he becomes too lazy, and so does Shaka, so Rick has no choice but to do it himself carefully. After he retrieves it, suddenly the song stops, which makes all the eggs hatch. They realize that the amplifier song is actually a lullaby for the Pterosaurus, so Rick quickly thinks to sing the song, until all the Pterosaurs fall asleep. Finally, they succeed in reclaiming the amplifier, so they celebrate by jumping into a desert pool as a memory before returning home. While the men enjoy themselves, Holly activates the amplifier, and she notices a tachyon signal far away. Because of that, she keeps walking until she finds an entrance with a mirror-like object appearing. Inside, Holly finds a chamber full of crystals, and she takes one dinosaur egg as strong proof. Suddenly, the red alien appears from behind in the form of a recording, explaining that Enoch is actually evil, and he has already escaped from the red alien's army's prison. He adds that Enoch wants to seize the central tower and the crystal, and now plans to lead his alien army to rage across all time and space. Right after he warns anyone watching not to trust Enoch, Enoch arrives and kills the red alien, revealing that Enoch actually already lies to Rick and the others, since the red alien has been a skeleton corpse for a long time. Just before Holly wants to leave, Enoch's troops arrive, and finally, she is captured. After the men finish relaxing, they realize Holly is gone. So they search for her, but they only find her bag left behind, strongly suspecting that the aliens have already captured her. They then investigate inside the cave, while Shaka is told to do something else. Inside, they see two aliens close together, suspecting that they are about to do something romantic. But after a while, it turns out that the aliens are ready to shed their skin. From the leftover skin, Rick and Will think to wear it as disguise to sneak into Holly's prison, which is located in an altar. There is a voice of an alien explaining the reason why they capture Holly, which is because she attempts to deliver the tachyon amplifier to Enoch. This makes Rick and Will angry, so they tear off the skin disguise to start fighting the aliens. But the alien voice explains that Enoch already lies because he is the one truly responsible for the destruction of a civilization, and therefore he is sentenced for his crime with 10,000 years of imprisonment. Because Rick and Will also help Enoch, the alien voice orders his army to catch them. They start fighting the aliens, while Rick tries to save Holly. After she is saved a moment later, Holly kisses Rick before she asks where Shaka is. It turned out Rick and Will had already sent Shaka to pick up Enoch, but the result failed with Shaka, who already caught by Enoch's army. Enoch then shows a tachyon amplifier that he already got, and his crystal necklace that can control his army, and also gift the T-Rex that appears in front of them. Knowing this, Rick determined to fight the T-Rex, while he told the other two to go to the place between two worlds. But they secretly refuse and want to know Rick's condition during the battle. Some moments later, when fighting, Rick remembered a poster of a failed jump that always reminded him of his failures. By chance, there's a stick in his hand now, so he uses it to climb on top of the T-Rex, but in the end he is swallowed into its stomach. After the T-Rex goes away from Holly and Will, it is their turn to determine to fight the aliens in Enoch's base. In the end, they are caught, but not long after, the T-Rex comes, already ridden by Rick. After wiping out all the aliens, Holly and Will wonder how Rick can get out from the T-Rex, which he answers that the T-Rex poop him out. Rick added that when he crawls inside its stomach, somehow he seems to open a blockage in its intestine, which makes its mood become happier, so the T-Rex considers Rick as his good friend now. After saying goodbye to the T-Rex, Rick and the others enter the space between two worlds, where Enoch is activating the portal to the human world. Rick and Enoch start fight, while Will also helps and tries to smack down Enoch, but in the end he misses. Because he fell from Enoch's crystal table, the table started to move with one crystal break, causing the portal to the human world to become weak. Knowing the broken crystal, Rick remembered Holly's crystal necklace, so he quickly took it and put on the crystal table to strengthen the portal to the human world. When Rick and the others escape, Enoch succeeds to knock down Will, But Enoch is shocked when Will holds Enoch back and decides to stay in this mixed dimension. He reasons that he already talked with Shaka before, who described a beautiful world in his home area, because he feels he never fits with his boring home in the real world. Rick and Holly agree this, and finally, they return to the human world. Feeling happy to be back, they celebrate by exchanging a kiss, but unfortunately, it is interrupted by Will's colleague who comes. Meanwhile, Will and Shaka go to Shaka's home area in the desert, where many of his people live. Not long after, many women came to welcome them, so Will immediately acted calm, and finally, he enjoying the welcome of the women who became interested in him. Sometime later after that incident, Rick returned to be interviewed again by the presenter Matt, who finally became famous after Rick's time travel discovery to the mixed dimension. He even brought a dinosaur egg that Holly had taken before, and had already made a new book to be read aloud by Matt, aiming to mock the presenter who had underestimated him before. As a result, the presenter cannot hold it and starts hitting Rick, and both of them finally fight. Land of the Lost movie ends with Holly's egg left behind, and finally, when all the workers have already gone, the dinosaur egg suddenly hatches. It turns out is not a baby dinosaur, but a baby alien who will threaten the world. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps.